Hi, welcome to the Gamesplainer. I'm Jeff the Gamesplainer, and today I'm gamesplaining Expancity. Expancity is a relatively straightforward game until a couple of turns in when it suddenly becomes really hard. And making the decisions is really what this game is about. The essence of the game is relatively simple. You start with two tiles in your hand. You look at those two tiles and you will place one. Green tiles are for residential building. Blue tiles are for commercial buildings. There are then these other tiles which are going to be placed in the same way. So what happens is on your first turn, if you say, look at a tile and place that in, the next thing that has to happen is you're going to do three actions. One of those actions is building. One of those actions is taking more building pieces. So you start with 6, you take more. Now, residential buildings can only go up to a maximum of 3 high, but you can only build a level 2 residential building if there is at least one capped level 1 residential building. So I can choose to cap that right now. That building has given me 1 point, so it's 1 point per thing within the structure. If that was placed, this gives me a +1 on each point. So this would be worth 2 points per level within that structure when I cap it. So let's say it looks like that. What that now does is, because I've capped one of my buildings, I can take the top 2 cards off this pile, have a look at them, and hang on to one of them. The number in the top corner is the number of points you will gain once that has been completed. Now sometimes you'll grab a card that has already been completed. That's fine. If you claim that one, you could claim the points on that straight away. Once that has been placed, you then grab 2 more tiles out of the bag and go, oh, I'll hang on to that one. The other one goes back into the bag, so you're starting the next go with 2 tiles only. That in essence is the game. The only thing you've got to watch out for, as I was saying before, if I were to build another residential one, I could now take that residential 2 pieces high and then cap it. Once I've got a 1 at 2, I can then take 1 to 3. 3 is the maximum height that any residential building can go to. However, I can't cap a commercial building until it gets to 4 levels high. Once it's at 4 levels high, I need to cap it, because unless I've got a level 4 commercial building capped, I can't go to a level 5 commercial building. So there's a lot of stuff going on, because these tiles here also, once they're capped, will speak to whether each level is worth more or less. Some of the tiles are better next to commercial buildings, so that won't add anything if it was seen next to a residential building. Some are better next to residential buildings. So see this +2, it means that each level here is worth 2, +1 for that, so 3, +1 for the building itself, so it's worth 4 points per level. Some of them are really not good for commercial or residential, depending on which tile comes up. So this one really wants to be placed next to these ones. Now notice this was placed after that had been capped. The points on that are not changed. So if you are trying to place things in, you need to look for things that are open. The other rule you've got to watch out for is you can have a maximum of 3 different buildings going at a time. As soon as you have 3, you cannot start a new building. So imagine that's what your table looks like, and that's what you had. You would place one of these tiles down, but you cannot build onto that because that would be a 4th building. So it's kind of a wasted thing. However, the other player, once they place a thing down, is able to totally build onto any stray spots, assuming they have 3 or less buildings going once they add the token. The majority of your points are going to come from this deck of cards. Every time you cap a building, you'll take 2 cards, choose one, throw the other one back. So choosing stuff that is already on the board and you don't have to work towards is not necessarily a bad idea. Choosing stuff with high points is not necessarily a bad idea, depending on where in the game you're up to and what that looks like. The other thing to be aware of is these 3 cards. They will give 12 points to each player who has achieved the highest value of each thing that they are asking for, and those 3 cards will be different each time they come out. The only other rule is whenever you're placing a tile, it must be next to another tile. So if you place it on that angle, that is not allowed. That, however, is allowed. Your 3 turns is building or taking. So notice I'm now down to only 1 tile. At some point, I'm going to have to take more from here. So I may go, oh, that has happened, I will just take 3 extra building pieces. So look, go on and watch my gameplay to get a feel for how this game actually plays. If you have any comments or suggestions, please write them below. If you have any games that you would like to be gamesplayed, please shoot me an email at thegamesplainer@gmail.com. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at thegamesplainer to keep up to date with the games I'm playing. Subscribe to my videos to keep up to date with the games that I'm gamesplaining. And until next time, enjoy gaming.